The driver of Princess Diana, finally breaking his silence, shared chilling details live on TV that shook the world.
I had to turn away, think about it, and then grip myself back and get on with what I was doing.
Princess Diana's untimely and unusual injury, a mystery that has haunted us all, was revealed to be the cause of her tragic death.
She was talking and they were worried about other people, and it was only later that she had a very unusual injury.
I just felt that it was appearing every day in newspapers and various things that I was listening to people, and that was an emotional day on the day that she...
Imagine the driver's shock, hearing of the princess's horrific accident while he was in the comfort of his bed.
You got the phone call and,
Yes, I can, vividly.
What was it like? Where were you?
I was in bed with my wife, and she answered the phone. I had a bit of banter with the guy on the other end, and then she looked round at me and said, "I think you better get up and sit on the end of the bed and take this phone call."
His colleague relayed to him with a grave tone that the princess had sustained severe injuries as a result of an unfortunate accident.
And it was a colleague from Balmoral who was telling me that Her Royal Highness was actually injured. And put the television on and you'll see. So that's what I did. You know, it was a bit of a shock. Got dressed and then went down to Kensington Palace.
Summoned to the palace after the accident, he recounted the surreal and heart-wrenching experience of being thrust into a tragedy.
Yes, it was quite difficult because Robin Cook, who was then the Foreign Secretary, was on the television giving what had happened. And he was explaining that she was injured. When in fact the private secretary, Michael, was telling the six of us in the office that sadly she'd...
When he landed in Paris, the atmosphere was thick with tension and sorrow, a city mourning the loss of a beloved icon.
Yes, the 24 hours was quite difficult. Getting to Paris was fine. Getting to the embassy was great, except I didn't speak French. My wife speaks it fluently, which a phone helped. And I knew one of the military attachés, Brigadier Ritchie, who immediately came into the room, and he used to work with Princess Anne.
The hospital was flooded with people desperate to know the princess's condition, a testament to her global impact.
So I was taken in to help, where I went to the hotel, and then I went to the hospital, and arrived at the hospital, lots of people about, on I think it was the first floor, and there was a lot of people.
The driver, maintaining his professionalism amid the chaos, felt the weight of the world's grief and disbelief.
Yes, I mean, I was an ex-inspector, but I did say that perhaps people are expecting lords, ladies and colonels in this in this particular instance, but we were dealt with by Sir Michael J. very, very well, and given everything that I needed, I was given.
He described the emotional torment of seeing Princess Diana in a hospital bed, a stark contrast to her usual radiant presence.
It's very difficult and emotional to see a person lying in a bed and not in a mortuary. And when I was in the room, which was very, very hot, I looked out of the window and I could see people on a roof. Now, whether they knew where the princess was, I don't know, but that worried me. So I got some blankets because there was no curtains, and we put blankets along the windows, which made it even hotter in the room. And I then went and got some fans to try and cool the room down. And that one moment in my life, which perhaps my professionalism was lacking a little bit, because as I turned round, the eyelashes and the hair of the princess were moving, caused by the fan. And that just struck me. I had to turn away, think about it, and then grip myself back and get on with what I was doing.
You didn't believe she would?
For a long time. I just refused to accept that she was gone. Part of, she would never do this to us, but also part of, maybe this is all part of a plan.
I mean, you really believe that maybe she had just decided to disappear for a time?
For a time, and then that she would call us and we would go and join her. Yeah.
How long did you believe that?
Years. Many, many years. And William and I talked about it as well. Mainly proof that she was in the car, proof that she was injured, and proof that the very paparazzi that chased her into the tunnel were the ones that were taking photographs of her lying half on the backseat of the car.
You write, I hadn't been aware before this moment, talking about looking at the pictures of the crash scene, that the last thing Mummy saw on this earth was a flashbulb. That's what you saw in the pictures.
The pictures showed the reflection of a group of photographers taking photographs through the window, and the reflection of the window was them.
Conspiracy theories swirled around the accident, each more sinister than the last, demanding thorough investigation.
I wasn't involved in the first examination, and of course she was then buried, so we didn't exhume her and have another look, but it was a review of all of the circumstances. There were so many conspiracy theories that needed to be looked at and properly examined. They were sort of glossed over a bit to begin with. So we went back and we did that. And so I looked obviously at the pathology, not just of Diana, but also of Henri Paul, who was the driver, and Dodie, who was her lover, and a guy called Trevor Rees-Jones, who was a security guard. So 4 people in that Mercedes. Now, if you have a crash at about 60 miles an hour in a Mercedes, you should walk away. And the thing I learned was that you put your seatbelt on, because Diana didn't have a seatbelt on, Dodie didn't have a seatbelt on, Henri Paul, the driver, didn't have a seatbelt on. Trevor Rees-Jones realised something was going wrong and just got his seatbelt on in time, because he lived to tell the tale. And when the car hit the bridge pillar, interestingly, the 13th pillar on the bridge, I mean, it adds to the conspiracy, doesn't it? It's got to be the 13th pillar. How the SAS managed to get them to hit the 13th pillar, I don't know. But, when they hit the pillar, Dodie hit the back of Henri Paul with a weight of about 3 elephants. And then Henri Paul hit the steering wheel. They were instantly. Diana wasn't badly injured. She'd broken an arm and had a couple of other little injuries. But, I mean, she should have survived, and she was partly protected by Rees-Jones, because she hit the back of his seat and was saved a bit. And in fact, when they arrived, they thought she was okay. She was talking, and they were worried about other people. And it was only later that she had a very unusual injury deep in the centre of her chest that no one knew was there. And when she became ill and collapsed, at that point, it became too late. And she after surgery.
Despite her royal status, the driver fondly remembered Princess Diana's tremendous sense of humour, a light in the darkness.
There is a line. You don't cross that line. You speak to when you're spoken to. And it is still very correct. She was still very royal. And yes, we were often together in the car, and it would be light conversation. She had a tremendous sense of humour. And wherever we went, I never had a crossword in the 2 years. Not one crossword. I think they went in too fast, but in the inquest, that was sorted out. I've driven through the tunnel myself. There are stanchions in the tunnel, which if you can be taken a little bit by, if you're at 2 trains in a station, one moves out, you think you're moving. You go in too fast where there's stanchions, it's getting a little bit worrying. So whatever happened, I perhaps a little bit too fast, and being taken away with the lady in the back.
And what are your memories of Princess Diana now? Because, of course, that was such an emotional time and 20 years ago, but when you think back and think of her legacy?
A great boss. I felt the last year, from August the 28th, when the divorce came through, that year up to she felt to me, because I didn't work with her years ago as a police officer, I was with Princess Anne, but she was good. She seemed to be living a good life and happy.
I was in bed in the embassy, and the 2 phone calls came early on and told me that there had been an accident, and clearly I needed to get to the hospital quickly. When we arrived, we were met by the French Interior Minister, Jean-Pierre Chevènement, and he said he had heard that there'd been the accident. She had been badly hurt, but didn't know how badly she'd been hurt. And then Chevènement was taken out by one of the nurses, and he came back in tears, really, and came up to me and said, "I'm afraid she's." But then after we had heard that she had, then I was on the phone, clearly to Robin Janvin in Balmoral to tell him, so he could tell the royal family that she had, and also to Downing Street. It was just getting light. 2 Mercedes drew up, and I told him that the Princess of Wales was He knew that his son had died, and we offered our condolences.
Prince Harry, grappling with his own grief, was shielded from viewing the more gruesome photographs of his mother's final moments.
All I saw was the back of my mum's head, slumped on the back seat. There were other more gruesome photographs, but I will be eternally grateful to him for denying me the ability to inflict pain on myself by saying that, because that's the kind of stuff that sticks in your mind forever.
There was a tremendous shock in the hospital at that stage. And certainly when I was told, and we were told, that she had, we were aware that this was a profoundly moving moment for all those who had been involved. My wife and I went to Villacoublay, the official airport, to meet the Prince of Wales. He said how Prince William had wanted to go to church that morning, which was not, he said, something Prince William always wanted to do on a Sunday morning. So they had been to church, but throughout that day, that morning, he had wanted to do what he thought was in the best interests of two children who had lost their mother rather brutally. The feeling I had from the conversation I had with the Prince of Wales and the conversation I had later on with the Queen was the concern of a family who had lost a member of that family, and a family, in particular the Prince of Wales, who knew that his children had lost their mother. Curious that the nation wanted to share their grief, it seems to me, with someone, and the person they wanted to share their grief with was the Queen. And when the Queen came to London, I think that was, in a sense, a cathartic moment for the royal family, and was a sense that the royal family and the Queen was responding to the grief which the nation felt.
She was the villain. She was the third person in the marriage. She needed.
Let's take a look at the intriguing and controversial life of King Charles, a prominent figure in the British royal family, as Kayleigh McEnany unveils a comprehensive exposé on his secrets, scandals, and untold stories. This revealing narrative also sheds light on the journey of his current queen consort, Camilla Parker Bowles. From the early days of Camilla's romance with Prince Charles, through years of public scrutiny and scandal, to her eventual acceptance into the royal fold, we explore every detail of their complex relationship. Discover how a single phone call almost brought down the British monarchy, and how a secret love affair existed long before Princess Diana came into the picture. Get ready to delve into the hidden truths behind the headlines, as we examine how Camilla transformed from one of the most reviled women in Britain to queen consort. This story spans decades and includes some of the most shocking moments in royal history, as revealed by Kayleigh McEnany. Starting from the beginning, we follow the current queen consort, Camilla Parker Bowles, and King Charles as they navigate their new roles amidst ongoing public scrutiny. Their relationship has been anything but smooth, marked by scandal and controversy, notably during Charles's marriage to Princess Diana. However, the revelations didn't stop there. Uncover the secret Queen Camilla revealed about King Charles, and explore the royal love story that intertwines Charles, Camilla, and Diana, adding layers of intrigue to this narrative that mirrors a fairy tale with its unexpected twists and turns. On a breezy afternoon in 1970, during a polo match at Windsor Great Park, Charles encountered Camilla. She broke the ice by mentioning that her great-grandmother had been the mistress of Charles's great-great-grandfather, highlighting their shared history. It's quite an introduction. Historians suggest they may have been introduced by a mutual friend, Lucia Santa Cruz, but regardless of how it happened, sparks flew, and they began dating. Their bond was genuine, marked by real happiness and togetherness. However, their romance was interrupted when Charles was sent to serve in the Royal Navy. During their time apart, Camilla made a pivotal decision and married Andrew Parker Bowles in 1973, a man who had once dated Charles's sister, Princess Anne. Despite her marriage, Camilla and Charles maintained their connection, with Charles even becoming the godfather to Camilla's son Tom. Rumor has it that Charles made a last-minute attempt to stop Camilla's wedding. Imagine the heartache of watching someone you love marry another. Before Diana entered the scene, Charles had a brief romance with her sister, Sarah Spencer, in 1977. This relationship ended when Sarah overshared with the press, but she played a crucial role in introducing Charles to her younger sister, Diana, at Althorpe House during a pheasant hunt. This introduction set the stage for Charles and Diana's relationship. Charles's relationship with Diana was heavily influenced by royal expectations. By the late 1970s, he was under pressure to find a suitable wife, and Diana, young and seemingly perfect for the role of a princess, fit the bill. Despite this, Charles's heart always seemed to be drawn to Camilla. Their early days were filled with joy, a stark contrast to the challenges that lay ahead for Charles. The impact of Charles's first love with Camilla was profound, enduring through the years. Camilla would later reveal the full truth about Charles. But before we get to that revelation, let's delve deeper into Charles and Diana's story, from teenage crush to royal partnership. Their early days were filled with charming but awkward moments. In November 1977, Diana, a 16-year-old schoolgirl, met 28-year-old Charles, a prominent royal figure, at Althorpe. Thanks to her sister Sarah, who had once dated Charles, the dinner was buzzing with excitement when the prince arrived. Diana made a lasting impression with her lively personality, catching Charles's attention. He even asked her for a dance after dinner, marking their first formal meeting. In 1978, Diana found herself amid the grandeur of Buckingham Palace, attending Charles's 30th birthday celebration. This event, filled with royalty and elite figures, was a world Diana, still a teenager, had to navigate. Their next notable meeting occurred 2 years later, in 1980, at a friend's house party. During this time, Charles was deeply affected by the tragic loss of Lord Mountbatten. Diana's empathy and kind words touched Charles profoundly. She noticed his sadness and told him he shouldn't be lonely and deserved someone to care for him. This genuine moment of compassion brought them closer, revealing a side of Diana that Charles hadn't fully seen before. Diana's popularity with the public soared, endearing her to the British people with her genuine warmth and relatability. This increasing public admiration added strain to her already challenging marriage with Charles. The constant media spotlight created a fishbowl existence for Diana, where every move was scrutinized and every gesture analyzed. Despite the glamour and prestige of her position, Diana's life was far from a fairy tale, filled with personal struggles and a relentless quest for privacy and normalcy for herself and her children. Her journey was marked by immense personal growth and resilience, even as she sought to find her own identity within the strict confines of royal expectations. Later that year, Diana received an invitation to the royal family's Balmoral estate. This visit was significant, almost like an audition for royal approval. Diana fit in effortlessly, charming everyone with her natural ease, and even learning to fish with Charles. The paparazzi quickly caught on to their growing relationship, and Diana became a media sensation. They were particularly captivated by a photo of her at her kindergarten job, which inadvertently revealed more than intended due to the sunlight behind her skirt. Charles's comment about Diana's legs being spectacular indicated a shift in their relationship to something more personal and less formal. By January 1981, with the media frenzy at its peak, Prince Philip decided it was time for Charles to make a decision. He sent a letter to Charles, urging him to either propose to Diana or end their relationship to protect her reputation. Charles took this as a royal mandate, leading to a proposal and what would become the wedding of the century. On February 6, 1981, Charles proposed to Diana, and she accepted. This royal engagement was a major event, filled with immense pressure and expectations. A few weeks after the proposal, the couple gave a televised interview. It was charming until a seemingly simple question cast a shadow over their happy news. When asked if they were in love, Diana immediately said yes, but Charles's ambiguous response about what being in love meant raised some eyebrows. At the time, this was perhaps seen as typical royal reserve. On July 29, 1981, the highly anticipated royal wedding took place at St. Paul's Cathedral in London, drawing an estimated 750 million viewers worldwide. Diana, stunning in an ivory silk gown with a 25-foot train, the longest ever worn by a British royal bride, exuded elegance despite her visible nerves, which led her to mistakenly call Charles by the wrong name during their vows. The wedding's splendor was undeniable, yet hints of underlying challenges and pressures were present from the beginning. Remarkably, Diana and Charles had only met 13 times before his proposal. Imagine committing to marriage after so few encounters. Their honeymoon, expected to be filled with romance and joy, turned out to be far from idyllic. Instead of basking in newlywed bliss, the couple spent time reading books by Charles's favorite author, Lawrence van der Post. Diana later revealed in taped interviews for a biography that her hopes had already faded by the second day of the honeymoon. She felt exhausted and emotionally drained, not from happiness, but from the immense pressure of adapting to her new royal role. In retrospect, both the engagement and wedding were grand yet bittersweet events, marked by celebration and underlying struggles, with millions witnessing only the surface glitter, unaware of the deeper challenges. Despite their history, Camilla attended the royal wedding, likely due to her husband, Andrew Parker Bowles's position as the commanding officer of the Household Cavalry Mounted Regiment. At this time, both Charles and Camilla were married to others, and it seemed their romantic involvement had ended. However, soon enough, royal secrets would begin to unravel, revealing that the fairy tale was more complex than it appeared. Diana's turbulent royal life. From the moment Diana stepped into the royal spotlight, her life seemed like a fairy tale. However, beneath the grandeur and sparkling tiaras lay a world of struggle, heartache, and private battles. Let's delve into the challenges Princess Diana faced during her marriage to Prince Charles, including mental health issues, public scandals, and a marriage fraught with turmoil. At just 19 years old, Diana transitioned abruptly from a simple life in a London flat shared with friends to the isolated opulence of Buckingham Palace. The lively girl who charmed everyone at Balmoral soon became distressed and jealous, her moods swinging wildly under the intense pressures of her new royal duties, according to her biographer, Penny Junor. The constant scrutiny and high expectations overwhelmed her, marking the beginning of a turbulent royal journey. The spotlight only magnified Diana's private struggles. She battled bulimia, a disorder often reflecting deeper emotional turmoil. Penny Junor notes that this wasn't just about food. It was a manifestation of Diana's ongoing mental health issues, rooted in a traumatic childhood marred by her parents' unhappy marriage. Diana later described bulimia as a secret disease, a desperate attempt to find comfort, followed by intense disgust and further emotional pain. One of the most heartbreaking moments in Diana's story occurred on the eve of her wedding. Her astrologer revealed that Charles confessed he didn't love her just before their wedding, a time that should have been filled with hope and joy, not despair. This devastating confession set a tone of heartache from the start. The strains in their relationship were exacerbated by lingering connections to past relationships. Just before their wedding, Diana found a bracelet Charles had intended for Camilla Parker Bowles, inscribed with the initials G and F, nicknames for each other. This discovery, amid intense public scrutiny, deepened Diana's insecurities and doubts. Diana's candid revelations about her struggles came to light in her 1995 interview with Martin Bashir, where she openly discussed her bulimia and feelings of inadequacy. This interview, though controversial in how it was obtained, offered a glimpse into the profound isolation and distress Diana experienced, highlighting her bravery in confronting such personal demons publicly. Behind the smiles and royal duties was a woman who battled severe personal challenges, fought for her sense of self, and faced a marriage that began with a heartbreakingly honest admission. Despite the facade of a fairy tale, Diana's royal life was marked by profound personal growth and resilience in the face of immense pressure. Charles, Camilla, and Diana. The hidden turmoil behind the royal facade. The discovery of a bracelet intended for Camilla Parker Bowles set off a chain of events that would eventually lead to the divorce of Prince Charles and Princess Diana. Although Camilla attended the royal wedding, many believed she and Charles had not been in contact for 5 years. The reality, however, was quite different, and the truth was about to unravel in a most dramatic fashion. Before the chaos, Charles and Diana's marriage appeared to be a fairy tale. However, behind the palace doors, it was a different story. Charles had a history with Camilla Parker Bowles, a vibrant woman he met through a friend in the 1970s. They clicked instantly, But the expectations of royal life pushed Charles to seek a wife who fit the mold of a future queen. Lady Diana Spencer was young and noble, but perhaps not entirely prepared for the challenges ahead. In 1981, she and Charles exchanged vows in a grand royal wedding. The twist. Camilla was present among the multitude of guests, and not just as an observer. Unbeknownst to the radiant bride, the stage for a royal scandal had already been set. As the initial enchantment of the marriage wore off, the harsh reality of their loveless union hit Diana hard. She felt isolated and unloved, while Charles seemed distant, his affections elsewhere. It wasn't long before Diana's suspicions about Charles's fidelity grew, leading to a shocking discovery. A bracelet intended as a gift from Charles to Camilla, hidden away, but not well enough. The bracelet, a secret token meant for Camilla just before Charles's wedding to Diana, surfaced at the worst possible time. Diana confronted Charles, but received nothing more than excuses and dismissals. However, small clues, a phone call here, a bouquet of flowers there, indicated this was no ordinary friendship. The royal marriage was deteriorating, and the public was beginning to take notice. By 1989, the situation had reached a breaking point. Charles and Camilla had rekindled their old romance, and Diana was fully aware. She decided she had had enough. At a birthday party attended by both Camilla and Diana, the stage was set for a royal confrontation. Summoning all her courage, Diana approached Camilla for a chat. The air was thick with tension as Diana laid it all out, making it clear she knew what was going on between her and Charles. Camilla, though caught off guard, maintained her composure and responded in a way that must have felt like a slap, telling Diana she had everything she could want: men falling in love with her, and 2 beautiful children. Diana, burdened by her broken heart, simply expressed her desire for her husband. The confrontation didn't magically solve anything. Diana knew she was fighting a losing battle. With dignity, she ended the conversation, leaving a stinging reminder to Camilla that despite their mutual difficulties, she was fully aware of the affair and refused to be treated like a fool. This event marked the beginning of the end for Charles and Diana's marriage. Their relationship, which had started with such public fanfare, was now crumbling under the weight of deceit and betrayal. As the royal secret spilled into the public domain, the fairy tale facade disintegrated, revealing the complex and painful reality behind the palace walls. Royal breakups and conspiracies. The late 80s marked the beginning of the end for the fairy tale marriage of Prince Charles and Princess Diana. By 1986, their lives had drifted apart, with Charles seeking comfort in the familiar company of Camilla Parker Bowles, rekindling a relationship that had never truly extinguished. In December 1992, the British Prime Minister made a televised announcement declaring the official separation of Charles and Diana. The situation took a dramatic turn in the summer of 1994, when Charles, during a revealing interview with Jonathan Dimbleby, openly admitted to his affair. His cold demeanor towards Diana and their sons caused a public outcry and led Camilla's husband, Andrew Parker Bowles, to seek a divorce. The fallout was swift and relentless. Diana had her moment to speak in November 1995 with her now famous Panorama interview, candidly stating, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." This was a breaking point for the Queen, who soon after urged Charles and Diana to divorce. By August 1996, their marriage was officially dissolved. The story took a tragic turn just a year later when Diana died in a car crash in Paris in 1997, at only 36 years old. As paparazzi chased their car, it crashed in the Pont de l'Alma tunnel, resulting in the deaths of Diana, her companion, Dodi Fayed, and the driver, Henry Paul. Her bodyguard survived but was severely injured. The tragic incident sparked numerous conspiracy theories. Some speculated that the crash was not a mere accident, but a calculated move, possibly involving the royal family to clear the path for Charles to marry Camilla. Although Charles initially claimed he had no plans to remarry, the reality turned out differently. In the late 80s, the public facade of Prince Charles and Princess Diana's marriage began to show significant cracks. By 1986, they were living almost entirely separate lives. Charles revived his relationship with Camilla Parker Bowles, an old flame whose bond with him had never completely faded. The public announcement of their separation came in December 1992, delivered by the British Prime Minister on national television. A crucial moment occurred in the summer of 1994, when Charles, in an interview with Jonathan Dimbleby, admitted to his affair with Camilla. His apparent lack of affection towards Diana and their sons caused a stir, prompting Camilla's husband, Andrew Parker Bowles, to file for divorce. The chain reaction was swift and dramatic. Diana's candid panorama interview in November 1995, where she famously remarked, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded," prompted the Queen to advise Charles and Diana to divorce. By August 1996, their marriage was officially over. Tragically, just a year later, Diana died in a car crash in Paris in 1997 at the age of 36. Pursued by paparazzi, the car crashed in the Pont de l'Alma tunnel, claiming the lives of Diana, her companion Dodi Fayed, and the driver Henri Paul. Her bodyguard survived but was critically injured. The circumstances of Diana's death quickly became enveloped in conspiracy theories. Speculations arose that the crash was not simply an accident, with some suggesting that the royal family might have been involved to facilitate Charles's marriage to Camilla. Despite Charles's initial assertions of having no plans to remarry, the future would reveal a different reality, adding another layer of complexity to this already intricate royal saga. The story of Charles and Camilla old love, they say, never truly dies. It simply waits for the right moment to flourish once more. This was certainly the case for Prince Charles and Camilla Parker Bowles, whose romance reignited under difficult circumstances following Princess Diana's tragic death in 1997. Navigating the intense media scrutiny and public heartbreak over Diana, Charles and Camilla faced a challenging journey toward acceptance. In 1998, Prince William, still in his teens, met Camilla during a visit to his father at St. James's Palace. The encounter was understandably tense, marking the beginning of Camilla's gradual introduction into William and Harry's lives. Their early meetings over lunches and teas were awkward but necessary steps toward building a relationship. Initially, Queen Elizabeth II showed no support for Camilla, even referring to her as that wicked woman. It wasn't until 2000 that the Queen began to soften, joining Charles and Camilla for a lunch that quietly indicated her acceptance. Things started looking up when Charles and Camilla made their first public appearance together in January 1999 at a birthday party for Camilla's sister. Arriving separately to maintain a low profile, they left together, causing a media frenzy and slowly easing Camilla into the public eye. By the time of the Queen Mother's funeral in 2002, Camilla stood by Charles, presenting herself as his partner. That same year, she undertook her first solo public engagement, a significant step in her public life. In 2003, the couple moved in together at Clarence House, making their relationship official without the bond of marriage. Everything changed on February 10, 2005, when Charles and Camilla announced their engagement, a moment that captured headlines and public interest. Camilla humorously shared that Charles had indeed gotten down on one knee to propose. The engagement was warmly welcomed by the royal family, with William and Harry expressing their happiness for the couple. The wedding, held on April 9, 2005 at Windsor Guildhall, was a modest affair. They chose a simple ceremony with close family and friends, foregoing the typical grandeur of a royal wedding. The Queen did not attend the ceremony, but joined the couple for the blessing at St. George's Chapel afterward. In the wake of Diana's death in 1997, Charles and Camilla found their romance rekindled amidst public mourning and media scrutiny. This period was fraught with challenges as they sought acceptance. In 1998, a teenage Prince William had an uncomfortable meeting with Camilla at St. James's Palace, a crucial step in her gradual introduction to the royal family. Initial interactions over lunches and teas were awkward but necessary. Queen Elizabeth II was initially resistant to Camilla, dubbing her that wicked woman. However, by 2000, her stance softened, and she dined with Charles and Camilla, subtly signaling her approval. Public appearances followed, with a significant one in January 1999 at a birthday party for Camilla's sister. Arriving separately but leaving together, Charles and Camilla's public outing created a media storm, paving the way for Camilla's acceptance. By the Queen Mother's funeral in 2002, Camilla stood by Charles, solidifying her role as his partner. She also embarked on her first solo public engagement that year, a critical move in her royal journey. By 2003, Charles and Camilla had moved in together at Clarence House, signifying their serious commitment. On February 10, 2005, Charles and Camilla announced their engagement, a moment of public and media excitement. Camilla shared that Charles had indeed proposed on one knee. The engagement was warmly received by the family, with William and Harry expressing their support.
She was the villain. She was the third person in the marriage. She needed.
Let's take a look at the intriguing and controversial life of King Charles, a prominent figure in the British royal family, as Kayleigh McEnany unveils a comprehensive exposé on his secrets, scandals, and untold stories. This revealing narrative also sheds light on the journey of his current queen consort, Camilla Parker Bowles. From the early days of Camilla's romance with Prince Charles, through years of public scrutiny and scandal, to her eventual acceptance into the royal fold, we explore every detail of their complex relationship. Discover how a single phone call almost brought down the British monarchy, and how a secret love affair existed long before Princess Diana came into the picture. Get ready to delve into the hidden truths behind the headlines, as we examine how Camilla transformed from one of the most reviled women in Britain to queen consort. This story spans decades and includes some of the most shocking moments in royal history, as revealed by Kayleigh McEnany. Starting from the beginning, we follow the current queen consort, Camilla Parker Bowles, and King Charles as they navigate their new roles amidst ongoing public scrutiny. Their relationship has been anything but smooth, marked by scandal and controversy, notably during Charles's marriage to Princess Diana. However, the revelations didn't stop there. Uncover the secret Queen Camilla revealed about King Charles, and explore the royal love story that intertwines Charles, Camilla, and Diana, adding layers of intrigue to this narrative that mirrors a fairy tale with its unexpected twists and turns. On a breezy afternoon in 1970, during a polo match at Windsor Great Park, Charles encountered Camilla. She broke the ice by mentioning that her great-grandmother had been the mistress of Charles's great-great-grandfather, highlighting their shared history. It's quite an introduction. Historians suggest they may have been introduced by a mutual friend, Lucia Santa Cruz, but regardless of how it happened, sparks flew, and they began dating. Their bond was genuine, marked by real happiness and togetherness. However, their romance was interrupted when Charles was sent to serve in the Royal Navy. During their time apart, Camilla made a pivotal decision and married Andrew Parker Bowles in 1973, a man who had once dated Charles's sister, Princess Anne. Despite her marriage, Camilla and Charles maintained their connection, with Charles even becoming the godfather to Camilla's son Tom. Rumor has it that Charles made a last-minute attempt to stop Camilla's wedding. Imagine the heartache of watching someone you love marry another. Before Diana entered the scene, Charles had a brief romance with her sister, Sarah Spencer, in 1977. This relationship ended when Sarah overshared with the press, but she played a crucial role in introducing Charles to her younger sister, Diana, at Althorpe House during a pheasant hunt. This introduction set the stage for Charles and Diana's relationship. Charles's relationship with Diana was heavily influenced by royal expectations. By the late 1970s, he was under pressure to find a suitable wife, and Diana, young and seemingly perfect for the role of a princess, fit the bill. Despite this, Charles's heart always seemed to be drawn to Camilla. Their early days were filled with joy, a stark contrast to the challenges that lay ahead for Charles. The impact of Charles's first love with Camilla was profound, enduring through the years. Camilla would later reveal the full truth about Charles. But before we get to that revelation, let's delve deeper into Charles and Diana's story, from teenage crush to royal partnership. Their early days were filled with charming but awkward moments. In November 1977, Diana, a 16-year-old schoolgirl, met 28-year-old Charles, a prominent royal figure, at Althorpe. Thanks to her sister Sarah, who had once dated Charles, the dinner was buzzing with excitement when the prince arrived. Diana made a lasting impression with her lively personality, catching Charles's attention. He even asked her for a dance after dinner, marking their first formal meeting. In 1978, Diana found herself amid the grandeur of Buckingham Palace, attending Charles's 30th birthday celebration. This event, filled with royalty and elite figures, was a world Diana, still a teenager, had to navigate. Their next notable meeting occurred 2 years later, in 1980, at a friend's house party. During this time, Charles was deeply affected by the tragic loss of Lord Mountbatten. Diana's empathy and kind words touched Charles profoundly. She noticed his sadness and told him he shouldn't be lonely and deserved someone to care for him. This genuine moment of compassion brought them closer, revealing a side of Diana that Charles hadn't fully seen before. Diana's popularity with the public soared, endearing her to the British people with her genuine warmth and relatability. This increasing public admiration added strain to her already challenging marriage with Charles. The constant media spotlight created a fishbowl existence for Diana, where every move was scrutinized and every gesture analyzed. Despite the glamour and prestige of her position, Diana's life was far from a fairy tale, filled with personal struggles and a relentless quest for privacy and normalcy for herself and her children. Her journey was marked by immense personal growth and resilience, even as she sought to find her own identity within the strict confines of royal expectations. Later that year, Diana received an invitation to the royal family's Balmoral estate. This visit was significant, almost like an audition for royal approval. Diana fit in effortlessly, charming everyone with her natural ease, and even learning to fish with Charles. The paparazzi quickly caught on to their growing relationship, and Diana became a media sensation. They were particularly captivated by a photo of her at her kindergarten job, which inadvertently revealed more than intended due to the sunlight behind her skirt. Charles's comment about Diana's legs being spectacular indicated a shift in their relationship to something more personal and less formal. By January 1981, with the media frenzy at its peak, Prince Philip decided it was time for Charles to make a decision. He sent a letter to Charles, urging him to either propose to Diana or end their relationship to protect her reputation. Charles took this as a royal mandate, leading to a proposal and what would become the wedding of the century. On February 6, 1981, Charles proposed to Diana, and she accepted. This royal engagement was a major event, filled with immense pressure and expectations. A few weeks after the proposal, the couple gave a televised interview. It was charming until a seemingly simple question cast a shadow over their happy news. When asked if they were in love, Diana immediately said yes, but Charles's ambiguous response about what being in love meant raised some eyebrows. At the time, this was perhaps seen as typical royal reserve. On July 29, 1981, the highly anticipated royal wedding took place at St. Paul's Cathedral in London, drawing an estimated 750 million viewers worldwide. Diana, stunning in an ivory silk gown with a 25-foot train, the longest ever worn by a British royal bride, exuded elegance despite her visible nerves, which led her to mistakenly call Charles by the wrong name during their vows. The wedding's splendor was undeniable, yet hints of underlying challenges and pressures were present from the beginning. Remarkably, Diana and Charles had only met 13 times before his proposal. Imagine committing to marriage after so few encounters. Their honeymoon, expected to be filled with romance and joy, turned out to be far from idyllic. Instead of basking in newlywed bliss, the couple spent time reading books by Charles's favorite author, Lawrence van der Post. Diana later revealed in taped interviews for a biography that her hopes had already faded by the second day of the honeymoon. She felt exhausted and emotionally drained, not from happiness, but from the immense pressure of adapting to her new royal role. In retrospect, both the engagement and wedding were grand yet bittersweet events, marked by celebration and underlying struggles, with millions witnessing only the surface glitter, unaware of the deeper challenges. Despite their history, Camilla attended the royal wedding, likely due to her husband, Andrew Parker Bowles's position as the commanding officer of the Household Cavalry Mounted Regiment. At this time, both Charles and Camilla were married to others, and it seemed their romantic involvement had ended.
I'm 75 now, and I can't remember anybody except the Queen being there.
In a shocking turn of events, tensions have reportedly flared within the royal household, with King Charles allegedly delivering a harsh reprimand to Queen Camilla, sparking an unexpected reaction. Sources close to the palace reveal that this confrontation may have stemmed from a recent disagreement on a sensitive matter within the monarchy, leading to a rift between the royal couple. Camilla, known for her resilience, was visibly shaken by Charles's words, and insiders suggest that she had a rare public outburst that left those around her stunned. This latest episode hints at underlying issues between Charles and Camilla, and while the royal family typically handles disputes in private, this incident has fueled fresh speculations about growing discord. The royal couple's public image has always emphasized unity, but this incident raises questions about the stability and cohesion within the royal household. Queen Camilla's life within the royal family has been marked by transformation, dedication, and public intrigue that have defined her journey from a figure surrounded by controversy to a respected royal. Her role as the Queen Consort of King Charles III places her in a unique position within the British monarchy, a position that carries immense responsibility and influence, as well as expectations that she continues to reshape. Camilla's role in the royal family has evolved over the years, particularly as she transitioned from Duchess of Cornwall to Queen Consort. Early on, her presence was often met with public skepticism, but she steadily became a committed and reliable figure beside Charles. Camilla has embraced her role with a focus on philanthropy, supporting numerous causes, and making a real difference in communities across the United Kingdom. From championing issues related to literacy, health, and domestic violence to supporting the arts, her work emphasizes connection and empathy. Many people have come to see Camilla as a grounded, relatable royal, often using her position to give a voice to issues that might otherwise remain in the shadows. One of her most prominent initiatives has been in the area of literacy and education, a cause she is deeply passionate about. Camilla founded The Reading Room, an online platform that celebrates literature and encourages readers to come together. The initiative has grown immensely popular, with readers around the world engaging in discussions, following Camilla's personal book recommendations, and participating in live author events. Her dedication to this cause shows her commitment to leaving a meaningful legacy, one that promotes the enrichment of minds and the encouragement of lifelong learning. Camilla's role in championing health issues is also significant. She has worked with organizations that promote awareness of osteoporosis, a disease that affected her mother and grandmother. Through her personal experiences, she has been able to bring greater attention to the disease and encourage people to seek support and treatment. Her advocacy extends beyond physical health. She is also a vocal supporter of mental health initiatives, particularly for young people and victims of domestic abuse. In collaboration with various organizations, Camilla works to remove the stigma associated with mental health issues and create safe spaces for those in need. Her efforts in this area have gained substantial recognition, and she has been credited with helping to shift public perception on these critical topics. Engagement with the public is central to Camilla's role as Queen Consort. Unlike other royals who may sometimes appear distant or aloof, Camilla's interactions often carry a warmth and sincerity that resonates with those she meets. She frequently attends events where she listens to people's stories, offering comfort and showing genuine interest in their lives. This approach has helped her build a reputation as a people's queen of sorts, someone who cares about the struggles and joys of ordinary people. Whether visiting community centers, schools, or hospitals, Camilla always makes an effort to connect on a personal level, which has helped endear her to many and shift public opinion over time. Despite her strong presence and positive contributions, Camilla is no stranger to rumors and speculation, particularly regarding her relationship with King Charles and her role within the family. From the early days of her relationship with Charles, she has been a focal point of media attention, often portrayed in unflattering ways that cast a shadow over her public image. Rumors surrounding her influence on the king, as well as her relationships with other royal family members, continue to surface from time to time. While these stories are frequently exaggerated or unfounded, They reflect the challenges she faces in maintaining her reputation in the public eye. One recurring rumor is that Camilla wields a significant amount of influence over King Charles. Some speculate that she is a key advisor to him, particularly on issues related to modernizing the monarchy. While the extent of her influence is not publicly known, it is likely that, as his closest confidant, she does provide insight and support that helps guide his decisions. Their relationship, forged over many years and many challenges, is built on mutual respect, and it's understandable that Charles might value her perspective. Still, the notion that Camilla could influence policy decisions or the monarchy's future is often blown out of proportion by tabloids eager to stir up controversy. In addition to questions about her influence, Camilla's relationship with other members of the royal family is another area of interest and speculation. While there have been reports of tension between her and other royals, especially in the early years of her marriage to Charles, insiders suggest that these relationships have evolved over time. Camilla has reportedly made efforts to build rapport with the younger generation of royals, including Prince William and Prince Harry. While the dynamics within the family are complex and often strained by public expectations and media pressure, it appears that Camilla is generally well regarded and respected by her extended family members. Looking ahead, Camilla's future as queen consort promises both challenges and opportunities. As the monarchy adapts to the demands of a rapidly changing world, Camilla will play a crucial role in shaping its direction and relevance. Her focus on social issues, coupled with her approachable demeanor, positions her as a bridge between the traditional aspects of the monarchy and the progressive values that many people, particularly younger generations, wish to see embraced by the royal family. Her ability to connect with the public and her willingness to engage on difficult topics suggest that she will continue to be an important figure in the monarchy's public outreach. One potential challenge for Camilla moving forward is navigating the scrutiny that inevitably comes with her role. As queen consort, every aspect of her life is subject to public analysis, and even small missteps can become major talking points. However, her experience over the years has equipped her to handle criticism with grace and resilience. Camilla's approach to public life is less about perfection and more about authenticity. She understands that connecting with people sometimes means showing vulnerability and acknowledging imperfections. Another area where Camilla could make a lasting impact is in the modernization of royal traditions. While King Charles is known for his interest in environmentalism and the arts, Camilla's focus on social issues and her relatively progressive approach to her role could encourage the monarchy to adapt to contemporary values. This includes promoting greater inclusivity within the institution and expanding the monarchy's involvement in issues like mental health and domestic abuse. By aligning the monarchy with causes that resonate with modern audiences, Camilla can help ensure its relevance and importance in the years to come. Ultimately, Camilla's journey as queen consort is one of reinvention and resilience. She has proven that, despite initial opposition and ongoing rumors, it is possible to carve out a meaningful role within one of the world's most scrutinized institutions. Her engagement with people, commitment to social causes, and down-to-earth personality have earned her a level of respect that seemed unlikely in the past. Today, Camilla stands not only as King Charles's partner, but as a figure of her own making. A queen consort who has redefined her position through dedication and kindness. As she continues her work, the legacy she builds will reflect her unique approach to the role. Whether through her support for literacy, health awareness, or the various other causes she champions, Camilla is leaving an indelible mark on the royal family. While questions about her influence and relationships will likely persist, her actions speak louder than any rumors. By staying true to her values and remaining committed to making a positive impact, Queen Camilla is securing her place in the future of the monarchy, shaping it in a way that reflects both tradition and progress. Queen Camilla's importance in the royal family continues to deepen, often blending tradition with her own style. Initially viewed as a controversial figure, she's become instrumental in bolstering the monarchy's public image, especially after her official title of queen consort became queen following King Charles's ascension. Her approach is practical, direct, and she's committed to supporting various charitable initiatives, from causes like osteoporosis awareness, something she has long been passionate about, to promoting literacy and tackling domestic violence. These efforts have not only redefined her role, but have also increased her popularity over the years. In terms of future moves, Camilla is likely to continue modernizing and streamlining the royal presence. Unlike past consorts who largely stayed out of the limelight, she appears ready to step into a more vocal, public-facing role, possibly championing mental health or other contemporary issues facing younger generations. Her next steps may also involve engaging with international audiences, subtly shaping foreign relations through diplomatic visits and partnerships.
That Diana, Princess of Wales, who was injured in that accident you've just seen pictured of, has actually died.
The Queen died peacefully at Balmoral this afternoon.
The story of King Charles and Princess Diana was once seen as a fairy tale romance, but behind palace doors, it was a whirlwind of heartbreak and betrayal. For years, hidden secrets and scandals shaped their rocky marriage, leaving Diana struggling to find love and support.
Charles has great delivery. I mean, he's practically like a Shakespearean actor.
What really happened between them? This shocking betrayal changed the royal family forever, and it's finally coming to light. Emotional distance. Emotional distance isn't just a relationship challenge. It's a silent betrayal that can cut deeper than words. In the case of King Charles and Princess Diana, their royal marriage was the perfect picture on the outside. But behind the palace walls, emotional distance was tearing them apart. Diana and Charles entered their marriage with high hopes and public adoration, yet they quickly found themselves on separate emotional wavelengths. Diana's vibrant personality and emotional openness clashed with Charles's reserved and duty-driven demeanor. While Diana longed for love, support, and genuine connection, Charles seemed to retreat into his own world, one that included Camilla Parker Bowles. The emotional distance between the couple grew, as Diana felt increasingly isolated. Despite her efforts to connect with Charles, his affection often appeared elsewhere. The betrayal wasn't just about infidelity, it was about the emotional neglect Diana endured while she fought to keep their marriage alive. Charles's inability, or unwillingness to meet her emotional needs, became a wound that never healed. For Diana, this distance wasn't just heartbreaking, it was soul-crushing. Her struggles with bulimia and feelings of worthlessness were amplified by the coldness of her relationship. She later admitted to seeking connection elsewhere, a response to the loneliness she felt within her marriage. What makes this story resonate even today is how relatable it is. Emotional distance isn't confined to royal relationships. Many people have experienced the pain of being in a partnership where they feel unseen, unheard, and unimportant. In Diana's case, her courage to speak out and share her truth shone a light on the emotional battles many people face behind closed doors. Charles's secret betrayal wasn't just his affair. It was the choice to emotionally distance himself from the woman who had once dreamed of building a life with him. The story of Charles and Diana isn't just a royal scandal. It's a reminder that emotional connection is the foundation of any relationship. When that connection is lost, the cracks are impossible to ignore. Camilla Parker Bowles. Affair. Behind the grandeur of the royal family, there's a story that shook the world. The affair between King Charles and Camilla Parker Bowles, a betrayal that left Princess Diana heartbroken. Their love triangle wasn't just a royal scandal, it was a devastating chapter in a marriage that was already on shaky ground. From the start, Diana sensed that Camilla was more than just an old friend of Charles. Despite their lavish wedding and the world's attention, Diana often felt like the third wheel in her own marriage. The emotional distance between her and Charles grew, fueled by his unwavering connection to Camilla. The secret affair wasn't just whispers in palace hallways, it was an open secret in royal circles. Diana eventually confronted Camilla at a party, bravely saying, "I know what's going on between you and Charles." Camilla's response? A dismissive retort that only deepened Diana's anguish. The betrayal wasn't just physical, it was the emotional bond between Charles and Camilla that left Diana feeling isolated and unloved. Charles's affair with Camilla wasn't just a blow to Diana, it was a seismic event for the monarchy. The revelation of their relationship, combined with Diana's candid interviews, shattered the fairy tale image of the royal couple. Diana's now famous words, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded," became a defining moment in their story. What made the betrayal even harder to digest was the perception that Charles had never truly let go of Camilla. For Diana, this wasn't just about losing her husband's love, it was about never truly having it in the first place. The Camilla affair remains a controversial chapter in royal history, but it also serves as a stark reminder of the cost of emotional neglect and betrayal. Diana's pain and bravery in the face of this betrayal left a lasting legacy, one that continues to captivate the world. Diana's confrontation. The royal marriage that once seemed like a fairy tale turned into one of the most heartbreaking and scandalous sagas in history. Princess Diana, known for her grace and charm, was blindsided by the betrayal of her husband, Prince Charles. But what happened when Diana finally confronted the woman at the center of it all? Camilla Parker Bowles? The dramatic moment is something the world never forgot. In the late 1980s, Diana's suspicions about Charles and Camilla's ongoing affair reached a boiling point. The emotional distance between Diana and Charles had grown too wide to ignore, and the rumors about their relationship were swirling in the media. But what could Diana do? The pain of knowing her husband was in love with someone else became unbearable, and Diana decided to take matters into her own hands. The infamous confrontation took place during a birthday party for Camilla's sister, Annabelle Elliott, and it was nothing short of explosive. Diana, her heart heavy with anger and sorrow, looked directly at Camilla and said, "I know what's going on between you and Charles." The tension in the room was palpable, and Diana's voice echoed with the rawness of her pain. Camilla's response was cold, dismissive, and utterly callous. She said, "You've got everything you ever wanted. A handsome husband, 2 beautiful children. What more could you want?" Diana's simple yet devastating reply left everyone stunned. "I want my husband." The conversation laid bare the emotional turmoil that had been eating away at Diana. The betrayal wasn't just about the affair. It was about her unfulfilled yearning for a connection with Charles. But that connection had long been lost. Diana's confrontation with Camilla revealed just how far Charles's emotional neglect had gone. It also revealed how powerless Diana felt in her own marriage, even as the world watched her every move. Her bravery in confronting the woman who had stolen her husband's heart only made the betrayal more poignant. This moment of truth would go on to shape Diana's legacy, forever remembered as a symbol of strength, courage, and heartbreak. Public confessions. The royal family's dirty laundry was never meant to be aired in public. But when Prince Charles and Princess Diana's troubled marriage started unraveling, the world was forced to watch every heart-wrenching detail unfold. The most shocking part? Both Charles and Diana made public confessions that revealed just how deep the betrayal ran. In 1994, Prince Charles shocked the world by admitting in an interview with Jonathan Dimbleby that he had indeed been unfaithful to Diana. In his own words, he admitted the affair with Camilla Parker Bowles, acknowledging that his marriage to Diana had irretrievably broken down. This was an unprecedented moment of honesty, especially from a royal figure, and it sent waves of shock through the public. For years, the rumors had swirled, but hearing Charles admit his betrayal publicly left no room for doubt. But the shock didn't end there. A year later, Princess Diana took to the BBC's Panorama interview to reveal her side of the story. In a candid and emotional confession, Diana spoke openly about her unhappiness within the royal family, her struggles with bulimia, and the emotional toll the marriage had taken on her. She even confessed to her own infidelity, admitting she had sought comfort outside her marriage after years of emotional neglect. One of the most memorable moments in her interview was her comment about the 3 of us in the marriage, referring to Camilla's ongoing relationship with Charles. Her words echoed the pain she had felt for years, having been pushed to the sidelines of her own marriage, while Camilla was always at the center of her husband's heart. These public confessions were a rare and shocking glimpse into the deeply troubled relationship between Charles and Diana. They painted a picture of 2 people trapped in a loveless marriage, each desperately seeking solace elsewhere. The revelations not only shattered the illusion of royal perfection, but also revealed just how far emotional neglect and betrayal can go, even within the walls of Buckingham Palace. Diana's struggles for years. Princess Diana was the picture of grace, beauty, and charm, always smiling in front of the cameras, a true people's princess. But behind that captivating smile, Diana was silently battling a storm of emotional struggles. The betrayal by Prince Charles and the constant heartbreak of his affair with Camilla Parker Bowles became an unspoken burden that weighed heavily on her. Diana's life within the royal family was far from the fairy tale many believed it to be. She found herself in a loveless marriage where her husband, Prince Charles, seemed emotionally distant. As the public continued to adore them as a perfect couple, Diana was left grappling with feelings of loneliness, inadequacy, and pain. Her constant battle with emotional neglect pushed her into a deep spiral, and it wasn't long before her struggles with bulimia and self-harm became part of her personal reality. But the most agonizing part? Prince Charles's affair with Camilla. Diana had always suspected something was wrong, and her worst fears were confirmed when the affair became public knowledge. While the world admired Diana for her grace, few could understand the profound hurt she felt in her personal life. She was fighting not only for her marriage, but for her own self-worth. Diana even admitted in interviews that her relationship with Charles was a bit crowded, a cryptic but clear reference to Camilla's constant presence in their lives. Diana's confession of her struggles was a turning point in her life. In her explosive interview with the BBC in 1995, she didn't hold back. Diana shared the truth about her pain, her fight with bulimia, and even her emotional breakdowns. Her courage to speak out, to expose the truth, was a pivotal moment in her life. But despite everything, Diana always longed for one thing: love and affection from her husband, something Charles never fully gave her. Diana's heartbreaking story is one of silent strength, the battle for love, and the pain of betrayal. Her struggles remain a poignant reminder of the human side of royalty and the cost of emotional neglect. Media scrutiny. Princess Diana's life was constantly under the watchful eye of the media, but the scrutiny she faced went beyond mere headlines. It was relentless, invasive, and at times, downright cruel. As her marriage with Prince Charles unraveled, the media played a huge role in exposing the secrets that the royal family tried so hard to keep hidden. But what many didn't realize was that the public's obsession with their troubled marriage only made things worse for Diana, especially when Charles's secret betrayal was finally laid bare. For years, Diana had been painted as the innocent, wronged party in her marriage to Charles. But the truth of her suffering went far deeper than the media could ever understand. As the press began to catch wind of Charles's affair with Camilla Parker Bowles, the tabloids and gossip columns were quick to sensationalize every detail. The media didn't just report the facts. They took pleasure in adding their own twists, often portraying Diana as a broken woman. Every move she made was scrutinized, every tear she shed dissected. But it wasn't just Diana who was affected. The public's fascination with her pain spilled over into the royal family, and suddenly, Charles's betrayal was a matter of public interest. The media did not hold back in exposing the affair and the emotional turmoil that came with it. They painted Charles as a man who had failed his wife and his country, and painted Diana as the victim, a woman deserving of sympathy and support. While the public followed every twist and turn of the royal drama, the media failed to recognize the emotional toll this constant scrutiny had on Diana. She was not just a princess or a symbol of hope for the British people. She was a human being, struggling in ways that no headline could fully capture. The media's relentless coverage of Diana's marriage and Charles's secret betrayal finally forced the truth into the open, but it also led to an invasion of her privacy that would haunt her for the rest of her life. In the end, while the public may have been captivated by the royal drama, Diana's personal pain was far more complex than the tabloids could ever portray. Queen Elizabeth's intervention. The royal family has always prided itself on maintaining a strong, united front. But the cracks in Prince Charles and Princess Diana's marriage were becoming impossible to ignore. While the world watched their relationship fall apart behind the scenes, Queen Elizabeth II was quietly stepping in to restore order and bring an end to the chaos. Her intervention, though discreet, would prove to be a game-changer in the scandal that rocked the monarchy. For years, Queen Elizabeth had remained relatively silent about her son's marriage woes. However, as public interest in the royal drama grew, and Charles's affair with Camilla Parker Bowles was exposed for the world to see, the Queen could no longer stay on the sidelines. Despite her usual preference for privacy, Queen Elizabeth's role in the royal family meant she had to act, especially when it came to preserving the dignity and image of the monarchy. In 1995, the situation reached a boiling point. Charles had publicly admitted to his infidelity during an explosive interview, and the marriage was beyond saving. That's when the Queen decided to take a bold step. According to reports, she wrote a personal letter to Diana.
And he, Lord Mountbatten was probably the closest person to him, and Diana said to him, "You look so sad,"
urging her to grant an early divorce from Charles. This letter was not just an official royal request. It was a motherly plea for Diana to help bring closure to the marriage. Queen Elizabeth's intervention was carefully worded, emphasizing that it was in the best interest of the country and the royal family. She even signed the letter with "Love from Mama," a gesture that showed her genuine concern for Diana's well-being. While it was clear the Queen wanted to protect the family's image, the letter also showed her emotional understanding of the situation. By stepping in, Queen Elizabeth sought to end the public spectacle and bring peace to the fractured royal family.
To marry into the royal family and to become a future queen.
Her intervention helped pave the way for the eventual divorce between Charles and Diana in 1996. However, The betrayal Charles had inflicted on Diana would never be forgotten, and the royal family's efforts to restore their reputation were ultimately overshadowed by the lasting emotional damage caused by the affair. Divorce and aftermath. The divorce between Prince Charles and Princess Diana was not just the end of a marriage, it was the dramatic conclusion to years of tension, public humiliation, and heartbreak. After the media frenzy and public revelations about Prince Charles's affair with Camilla Parker Bowles, the royal couple finally called it quits in 1996. But the aftermath was far from a simple split. The impact of their divorce rippled through the royal family, the public, and even the press. For Princess Diana, the divorce marked a new chapter in her life. Despite the heartache, she handled the situation with a resilience that made her an even more beloved figure. However, the scars of her marriage were deep. Diana's struggles with self-esteem, mental health, and public image continued long after the legal documents were signed. Her need for love and affection, which had been ignored during her marriage, left her searching for solace in other relationships. Prince Charles, on the other hand, seemed to breathe a sigh of relief after the divorce. He was now free to pursue his relationship with Camilla openly, something that had been hidden for years. Despite the relief, his actions didn't come without consequence. The royal family was under scrutiny more than ever, as the public's trust in the monarchy began to wane. What followed was a bittersweet phase for both Charles and Diana. The divorce, while offering a sense of freedom, didn't mend the emotional wounds that had been inflicted over years of betrayal and emotional distance. The royal family's attempts to appear unified couldn't mask the rift that had grown. Despite the personal and public battles, both Charles and Diana carried the emotional weight of their broken marriage. In the end, Charles and Diana's divorce was a turning point for the monarchy, exposing hidden betrayals and pushing the royal family into a new era of scrutiny and transparency. Their story may have ended legally, but the emotional consequences of their troubled union lingered long after. Charles's tribute. After years of public scrutiny, betrayal, and a bitter divorce, King Charles's tribute to Princess Diana at her funeral took everyone by surprise. His unexpected gesture spoke volumes about their complicated relationship and left the world questioning what truly lay beneath the surface of their tumultuous marriage. The relationship between Charles and Diana was far from perfect, filled with emotional distance, infidelity, and heartbreak. Yet, despite all the drama and the affairs, including his well-known love for Camilla Parker Bowles, Charles's tribute to Diana at her funeral gave a glimpse of a deeper connection. While much of their marriage had been marked by tension and separations, his final act of respect suggested that he still held a certain regard for the woman who had been by his side for so many years. At Diana's funeral, Charles made a quiet but powerful statement by choosing to wear a navy suit instead of the traditional black mourning attire. To many, this might have seemed like a simple wardrobe choice. However, it had much more significance. Diana had always loved seeing Charles in navy, and this tribute, though subtle, was a poignant nod to their shared history. Was this Charles's way of showing that, despite all the pain and betrayal, he had a deep respect for Diana's legacy? Some royal watchers believed it was his way of acknowledging the tumultuous years of their marriage, filled with love, loss, and ultimately, profound sadness. Others speculated that it was an attempt to make amends for the betrayals that had stained their relationship over the years, offering a final, personal tribute to the woman who had once been the love of his life. Charles's tribute to Diana raised many questions, leaving the public wondering if there were feelings and regrets that he had never fully expressed during their marriage. While his actions couldn't undo the past, they did offer a glimpse of the complex emotions he may have carried for the rest of his life. Diana's legacy. Princess Diana's legacy continues to shape the world. Even long after her tragic death, her story was one of immense love, devastating betrayal, and unimaginable strength. But behind her iconic public image, there lay a deeply personal story that was often overshadowed by the royal family's secrecy and the scandals surrounding her marriage to Prince Charles. The world watched in disbelief as Diana's marriage to Charles crumbled under the weight of emotional distance, public scrutiny, and Charles's enduring relationship with Camilla Parker Bowles. While Charles's betrayal was widely known, Diana's resilience and unwavering spirit were what truly defined her. But what often gets overlooked in the shadows of these betrayals is how Diana's impact still ripples through the royal family and beyond. Even after the divorce, Diana's influence remained powerful, especially on her sons, Prince William and Prince Harry. Diana's advocacy for causes like HIV/AIDS awareness, her work with landmine victims, and her campaign for mental health awareness changed the way the world viewed royalty. She gave voice to the voiceless and used her platform for good, making her the people's princess in every sense of the word. Charles's betrayal of Diana was deeply damaging, not just to their relationship, but also to the monarchy's image. Yet, her legacy outshone the controversies that defined much of her marriage. Her charitable work, her warmth, and her relatability connected her with people worldwide, unlike any royal before her. In the aftermath of her death, Charles's tribute at her funeral and his decision to wear navy instead of traditional mourning black sent a signal to the world that there was more to their relationship than what had been publicly revealed. It was as if Charles was finally recognizing the woman Diana had been and the profound effect she had on his life. Diana's legacy lives on not just in the charity work she championed, but in the lives of her children and in the hearts of millions who still remember her with love.